If you've been scrolling through endless camera specs, watching video after video about which rangefinder is the sweet spot, and still feel stuck wondering whether a fully mechanical body is worth the splurge, this review is going to clear that up for you. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent a few weeks shooting street scenes, park benches, and late-night cafes with the Leica MA, and I'm going to walk you through what that experience actually feels like, not just what the brochure says. First off, the biggest hesitation people have with a camera like this is the lack of any electronic assistance. No autofocus, no built-in light meter, no auto exposure modes, just a shutter, a manual focus ring, and a couple of dials. For someone used to point-and-shoot or even a modern mirrorless system, that can feel like stepping back into the dark ages. The risk, of course, is ending up with a handful of blurry shots or missing a shot because you're fumbling with exposure settings. But the flip side is that the MA forces you to be present with the scene. You can't hide behind a menu, you have to decide what you want in the frame before you even pull the trigger. The Leica MA is a pure analog rangefinder, and that defines its whole personality. The body is an all-metal shell with chrome brass top and bottom covers, so it feels solid enough to survive a rain-soaked train ride and still look immaculate when you pull it out of your bag. Because it's completely mechanical, the camera doesn't need a battery at all. That means you can go a week in the desert, a month on a backpacking trek, or a weekend shooting the night market without ever worrying about a dead battery warning flashing on your LCD. In practice, that translates to a confidence level you don't get with most digital bodies. Just turn the crank, set your aperture and shutter speed, and you're ready. Now, let's talk about how it actually works on the street. The rangefinder viewfinder shows you a bright, parallax-corrected image that overlays a focusing patch. You line up the two images, and you'll know you're in focus before you even press the shutter. For subjects that are moving at a human pace, a passerby, a cyclist, a street vendor, this method is surprisingly fast once you get the rhythm. It's quiet, too, there's nowhere of an autofocus motor, which makes it less intrusive when you're trying to capture candid moments. I found that I could get closer to people without them feeling like I was a paparazzo, simply because the camera's operation is almost mute. Low-light performance is where the MA shows both its charm and its limitation. Because the camera itself has no ISO knob, you're entirely dependent on the lens's maximum aperture and the shutter speed you can manually set. Pair it with a fast 35mm f/1.4 lens, and you can comfortably shoot at 1/30th second on a dimly lit street without raising the ISO because there isn't one. The viewfinder stays bright enough to focus, but you'll notice you need a steadier hand or a tripod if you push past f/2.0 in very dark venues. In other words, the camera rewards you for investing in fast, high-quality lenses, which leads straight into the next practical consideration, the Leica M lens ecosystem. Leica's mount lenses are legendary for their sharpness, rendering, and build quality, but they come with a price tag that matches the camera body. You can buy a used 50mm f/2 for a few $1,000s, but a brand new 28mm f/2.0 still costs as much as a high-end mirrorless camera today. If you already own Leica lenses, the MA becomes a perfect match, a chassis that lets those lenses shine without any digital interference. If you're starting from scratch, be prepared for a significant investment. The camera alone is a statement piece, but to actually shoot well you'll need at least one fast lens, and preferably a second focal length for versatility. That's a real-world cost that many beginners overlook. Another practical point is that the MA lacks any form of image stabilization. Modern mirrorless bodies can give you a few stops of shake reduction, which is handy when you're shooting handheld at slower shutter speeds. With the MA, you're wholly reliant on your own steadiness and on the mechanical shutter's precision. In my own experience, that meant I was more selective about when to shoot slower exposures, and I often used a simple leather strap and a light grip to steady the camera. It's a trade-off. You gain a distraction-free shooting experience, but you lose that safety net of electronic shake correction. So who should actually buy this camera? If you're a seasoned photographer who already appreciates the discipline of manual focus, enjoys the tactile feedback of metal dials, and maybe even has a small collection of Leica M lenses. The